I discussed that and it brought a lot of conversation from people of on both sides of the fence when it comes to how do we protect like our how do we not get censored ultimately? In my opinion, in what I mm, mm, like, as you said, for any business in today's world, any business, small business, you have got to be on social media. That's your number one form of marketing. And we're dependent on these platforms. It's like you said, you can make a video, but if you're going to get any sort of traction off of it, like, you're not going to do that off of Rumble. You're going to do it off of the big three. It's like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all of those. And right now we're being censored, which is a First Amendment issue. And people come back and they're like, well, these are private entities. Okay, well,
Are they
so is my
though?
cell phone. But
Yeah.
if Verizon was like, yo, I don't want to do, and they are pretty, but anyways, if they were like, well, we don't want to allow any phone calls or whatever, or we may not allow all phone calls for people who are pro Second Amendment, then that would be a major issue because everyone has got to use these private cell phone carriers and we all have got to use private internet carriers. Technically, we could just not use cell phones, we could use snail mail, right?
Or
But
ham radio.
be, or ham radio, but because we live in a modern world, we have a lot of different forms of communication. And today's main form of communication and how most people ingest their information is from YouTube, from Instagram, is going to be from some sort of social media app. And a friend of mine recently brought up a very good point, and he was like, "This is a Fourth Amendment violation." And I was like, "What?" And you crack open the Constitution and you read that baby, and it talks about privacy of your information, especially when it comes to within your house. And this
Mm-hmm.
is this is all of my information in my house. Like,
Yeah.
that's like opening up my filing cabinet. And right now, all of our stuff is it's a direct violation of that. And
Yeah.
why people aren't putting that together.
I think there's a huge, I think, an incestuous relationship between the federal government, corporations, and the politicians who are in bed with all those people. And the, I suppose the question of digital privacy, what does it mean to live in a multinational world where everything's connected? Some of the biggest apps in the world are not developed in the US, and some of the biggest apps in the world that are bad about privacy and literally scraping all the information that they can just so they can sell you a toothbrush, right? Is they're US based. And then you go to Europe and they're like, yeah, we think data privacy is a big deal. We're going to sue Google because, or fine Google because they're promoting their own search results over other people's and things that are like, we kind of take it as like, oh yeah, well that's fine. They're a private corporation. They can do what they want to do. But is it though, or is it technically? Have you created a public square, and it's kind of our place? And I don't want to sound like a communist, unless I get removed from the Second Amendment community expeditiously, right? But in reality, isn't Facebook technically a public platform where anyone can get an account, anyone can hop on, and it's almost what they would call like a public utility. Um, and what does that mean for their ability to run it if it were to be shifted over? I know that was a big deal, a big discussion. Oh, is the internet a public utility? Can we promote different things over other things? Can we censor, or can anybody who wants to commit any heinous crime against God and humanity post any vileness on the internet and just call it a day? Can we do that? It's complicated.
It's very complicated, but
Oh,
we have to have these conversations because this is what's going on in today's world. I mean,
yeah,
at some point, like, people have had to figure out all of the things that help us, I guess, because when one person starts to abuse something, then we have to figure it out. And that's kind of what's
right.
going on.